Welcome back to Super Recaps. Today we are going to recap a movie from 1984 titled The Karate Kid. Beware of spoilers. Teenager Daniel relocates to Los Angeles from New Jersey after his mother Lucille accepts a new job position. When the faucet in their new flat breaks, Daniel goes to visit Mr. Miyagi, the maintenance worker, who is using chopsticks to try to catch a fly. He promises to take care of it as soon as possible. Allie Mills is present at the beach party. Daniel is invited to buy a new friend. The party is interrupted by Johnny Lawrence and his pals Tommy and Bobby Brown. Johnny and his ex-girlfriend Allie argue. He destroys her stereo, so Daniel stands up to Johnny. Daniel receives a black eye after being attacked by Johnny, who is skilled in martial arts. When wearing sunglasses to school doesn't work to conceal the eye injuries from Lucille, he lies and says that he fell off his bike. During the soccer trials at his new school, Bobby slips and tackles Daniel, prompting Daniel to tackle him back, and then punches him in the face, which gets him kicked from the field, further humiliating Daniel. Because of his self-defense classes, Daniel has some basic martial arts expertise, but he decides he needs a refresher. Miyagi enters to fix the sink while he is working out. Additionally, he wonders how Daniel could fall off a bicycle without hurting his arm. When Daniel and Lucille are out to lunch, Daniel sees the Cobra Kai dojo, a karate school, across the street and decides to check it out. John Kreese, the sensei of the dojo and a former Special Forces soldier who served in Vietnam, runs it like a boot camp and instills in his students the draconian philosophy known as the Way of the Fist, which emphasizes ruthlessness, violence, and no mercy. Daniel leaves when he notices Johnny there. That evening, Daniel was riding his bike home when Johnny and his buddies sideswiped him with their motorcycles, sending Daniel tumbling down a slope. Daniel has a little injury, but his main injuries are fear and shame. Upon returning home, Lucille observes him throwing his damaged bike into a trash can. Daniel informs his mother that he wants to return to New Jersey because the move has upset his life. Miyagi hears their chat and comes out of his workshop as they leave. Daniel discovers his bike the following morning, repaired. When he visits Miyagi's store, he discovers that Miyagi had fixed it for him. For a forthcoming Halloween dance, Allie and Daniel both decorate the school gym. But when Miyagi asks Daniel why he won't be there, Daniel replies that he doesn't have a costume. So he makes him a costume out of a showerhead and a curtain. Allie and Daniel do a little dance when Daniel arrives at the school. Daniel walks to the bathroom to clean up after being hit in the head with a raw egg at the dance by a prankster. Johnny is rolling joints inside one of the stalls while costumed as a skeleton. Daniel sets up a prank by turning on the water and hanging a hose over Johnny. Daniel follows Johnny as he exits the restroom. Allie temporarily slows them down by falling over Johnny and knocking all the other Cobra Kais to the ground. He rushes out of the school and is almost over the fence but gets caught by the Kais who start beating him ruthlessly. Suddenly Miyagi appears and shoves Daniel out of the way. Kais is easily beaten by Miyagi. Miyagi takes Daniel to his workshop and attends to him while leaving the others moaning in misery on the ground. Daniel is awestruck by Miyagi's karate abilities and asks Miyagi to teach him. The cause of all the problems by the Kais, according to Miyagi, must be the fault of their teacher and not them. Miyagi advises Daniel to speak with their teacher. Daniel declines, fearing further abuse. Miyagi is hesitant to become involved, but he offers to mentor Daniel and accompanies him to Cobra Kai to speak with Kreese. The following day at the Cobra Kai dojo, Daniel and Miyagi observe as Kreese instructs his students about how an opponent is equally an enemy and deserves no mercy. He then interrupts the class to confront the guests. Miyagi requests Kreese that his students leave Daniel alone, but Kreese scornfully dismisses his request and tells Daniel to start fighting Johnny right away. Miyagi advises that Daniel and the Kai square off at the All Valley Karate Tournament in a few weeks in order to make the odds more even for Daniel. Kreese likes the challenge and agrees. To start his training, Miyagi brings Daniel to his house. A dozen vintage American cars are parked in front of the residence. Daniel is assured by Miyagi that he will instruct him, but Daniel should not question his methods. Daniel nods in agreement, and Miyagi hands him a sponge and tells him to wash and wax every car. According to Miyagi's very detailed directions, Daniel would only use the sponge and waxed cloths while making broad circular motions with his hands and arms. Additionally, he will take several deep breaths while inhaling through his nose and exhaling through his mouth. In the weeks that follow, Miyagi assigns Daniel more tasks with identical instructions on technique, including painting Miyagi's house, staining the fence around his property, and sanding the walkway that circles his backyard. The lack of apparent karate instruction and Miyagi's minimal praise of Daniel's work frustrates him more and more with each new task. After completing the painting of Miyagi's home one evening, Daniel vents his dissatisfaction to his master. Daniel is instructed by Miyagi to demonstrate how he cleaned and polished the cars. Miyagi uses acupressure to ease the stress when Daniel complains that his shoulder hurts too much. He then asks Daniel to demonstrate the motions he's been using to do the chores. Daniel realizes right away that the chores were actually defensive maneuver practice, exercises to improve muscle tone, reflexes, and good breathing techniques. After a short period of practice, Miyagi abruptly attacks Daniel with a number of punches and kicks, all of which Daniel is able to block with ease. Additionally, Miyagi demonstrates to Daniel how to bow to his adversary, instructing him to face his adversary in the eye both for defense and to show respect. Ali and Daniel go on their first formal date. He discovers that Ali's parents are exceedingly wealthy and reside in Beverly Hills when he arrives at their home, driven by Lucille. When Lucille's car won't start and they have to push start it, Daniel feels particularly anxious and embarrassed. He enjoys his date with Ali, and his embarrassment fades. In the weeks that follow, Miyagi has Daniel practice his defensive strategies and achieve physical balance by standing on the beach and attempting to maintain his balance while facing off against the powerful ocean waves. Daniel notices Miyagi perched atop a post down the beach as soon as he exits the ocean. Daniel notices Miyagi practicing a move, where Miyagi lifts his arms and one leg while kicking with the other. Miyagi refers to the move as the crane technique when Daniel wonders what it is, claiming that if it is executed correctly, an opponent won't be able to defend himself. Ali invites Daniel to go on another date with her. Daniel visits the country club owned by Ali's parents and spots Ali dancing with Johnny there. When Johnny spots Daniel, he forcefully kisses Ali. Daniel, feeling humiliated, turns to leave when he bumps into a waiter, who then pours a tray of food on him, making everyone who witnesses the incident giggle. Ali punches Johnny in the face after becoming enraged, but Daniel does not witness this. Daniel discovers Miyagi intoxicated and wearing an army sergeant's outfit later that night at his house. After having Daniel join him in a toast, Miyagi gives Daniel a picture of his late wife. Daniel covers Miyagi with a blanket after he falls asleep in his bed. Daniel discovers an army document that claims Miyagi's wife and kid had died during delivery, at the Manzanar relocation camp for Japanese Americans in California. In addition, Daniel learns that Miyagi is a war hero who has received the Congressional Medal of Honor. Daniel bows to his teacher before departing. As more time passes, Daniel keeps working out, frequently by himself. At the beach, he also works on Miyagi's crane kick. Daniel is also taught how to punch by Miyagi, who sternly corrects Daniel when he starts to be silly. When Daniel turns 16 years old, Miyagi treats him to cake and ice cream. Additionally, he passed the driver's exam. Daniel receives a Japanese robe from Miyagi that has a bonsai tree stitched on the back. The other gift Miyagi gave Daniel was a 1948 Ford Super Deluxe in yellow, one of the vehicles he had Daniel wash and wax. He advises Daniel to go out and find the balance in his life, knowing that Daniel is confident enough to pursue his connection with Ali. To confront Ali for kissing Johnny, Daniel drives to a nearby bar where he finds her. She mainly ignores him until Ali's friend Susan tells her that Johnny kissed her simply to make Daniel feel bad and that Ali punched Johnny in retaliation, breaking her wrist. Daniel apologizes to Ali and she accepts his apology. He then takes her out for a drive in his brand new car. Ali and Lucille accompany him on the day of the competition. The official at the registration desk inquires about what degree of the belt Daniel attained. Miyagi informs the official that Daniel is a black belt before cunningly stealing the official's belt from his backpack. Daniel is challenged by some of the Cobra Kais led by Dutch while getting dressed in the locker room. The referee arrives on time and separates them. In the tournament ring, Daniel beats his first opponent. To his own surprise, he keeps moving forward by defeating many of his opponents. Daniel competes against some of the Cobra Kais in the higher rounds. After Daniel defeats Tommy and Dutch, Kreese instructs Bobby to intentionally damage Daniel's knee with an illegal kick, eliminating him from the match. Bobby agrees despite being appalled, gravely harming Daniel and losing his chance to win. Daniel is brought to the locker room, where a doctor informs him that he won't be able to complete the contest. Ali, Lucille, and Miyagi all reassure Daniel that he achieved his point and that more fighting is not necessary despite the fact that Daniel is sad. But once the two women have departed, Daniel asks Miyagi to treat his knee using acupressure, just like he did for his shoulder in training. Although Miyagi first reiterates Lucille's remark that Daniel has nothing left to prove, Daniel emphasizes that if he believes his tormentors have triumphed over him, he would never be able to achieve the balance in his life. Daniel's leg is partially healed after Miyagi accepts. Just as Johnny is about to be declared the winner by default, Daniel enters the ring again. Both players face off, each needing 3 contact points to win, and after numerous suspenseful rounds, the score is deadlocked at 2. On Kreese's instruction, Johnny hits Daniel on his injured knee with his elbow. Despite his discomfort, Daniel prepares for the decisive round. He adopts the crane technique position and waits for Johnny to move. Daniel kicks out with his leg and connects with Johnny's chin, in order to get the 3rd point and claim victory against Johnny. Johnny congratulates him and gives him the championship trophy while Daniel is being carried around on the shoulders of the other contenders. As Daniel enjoys his victory, Miyagi can almost be seen grinning. The end. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. To support the channel, turn the notifications on and leave a like.